What really caught my attention in Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 finale, aside from the technical side which we'll talk about later, was the way Yuta Okkotsu was reintroduced.
I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Yuta Okkotsu is a special grade sorcerer who we technically haven't seen in a real fight since the JJK 0 film against Geto. And that's probably what made a lot of people forget just how powerful he really is. The story showed us exactly why he is the second strongest sorcerer in the series. In Sendai Colony, against 4 characters, and I really mean it was literally 1v4, he gave a performance that was more than impressive and exactly what you would expect from him. It all started with Drew, an ancient sorcerer who you could probably place him close to special grade, considering he once conquered Sendai Island in the past. But his fight against Yuta was too fast and one-sided that, I guess, it didn't even need to be shown, you know. After that, the story took us to the other side of Yuta, which is the kind side of his character, that maybe we had not seen in a while, and his determination to save the innocent people inside the colony, along with his decision to collect 400 points by himself, and kill Kinjaku. The boy had some really hard goals to achieve, all while fighting inside the colony. And well, now that we have seen the episodes, we know for sure that this colony was one of the strongest and deadliest colonies in the whole game. The second fight was against Kororoshi, a special grade curse, which means he is in the same class as Jogo and Mahito, that Kinjaku most likely than not released specifically to fight Yuta. Because you know, a man who has backup plans for his backup plans would obviously know that Yuta, as confident as he is, was going to enter Sendai. On top of that, Kororoshi has the kind of ability that's very hard to counter, unless you are Gojo of course, or Yuta in this case. And here though we got a glimpse of Yuta's strength, not just with a sword or through using a weapon, but physically too. And also his speed, which got confirmed even more later in his fights against Uro and Ishigori. After he killed Kororoshi, or at least that's what it looked like, and without even getting time to rest, Takako stepped in and sent the guy flying away by several meters. And again, that attack could have caused serious damage to almost anyone else who didn't have great physical strength. This fight, this whole battle was an evaluation of Yuta's raw physical power. The same character a lot of people call a glass cannon who only uses Rika. I mean, normally we should have gotten our answer here, or not yet. After a bit of conversation with Takako, Ishigori enters the scene, the sorcerer with the highest curse energy output among the players. The guy capable of breaking through any defense and killing anyone. And here the fight turns into a 2v1. Because we can see that from this point until the end of the episode, that 95% of this battle was Uro and Ishigori both trying to take a piece out of Yuta. Uro because of her background, her past, and her hatred toward the Fujiwara clan, and Ryu because he still wasn't satisfied and still needed desert. A reference to how he still hadn't met a sorcerer strong enough to truly satisfy him. So we see the fight here turn into Yuta versus Ishigori. Ishigori is honestly a very interesting character, and we saw that even Yuta was having some problems fighting him because of his technique Granite Blast, which has a long range and a massive destructive power, which means he can fight both directly and from distance too. And again, we see that Yuta's physical strength is insane, that even after taking dozens of serious hits from both sorcerers, he was still standing and still fighting without any real problem. I mean, yes, he uses reverse curse technique, but that's because he has an almost unlimited reserve of curse energy. He can fight at this pace for hours without getting tired. However, because the fight was basically a handicap, 2 sorcerers against 1, Yuta was starting to get worn down. Because if we are being fair here, it's just not possible for anyone to keep going like that, except for Sukuna. Even Gojo with 6 eyes would get tired, and we saw that in Shibuya when he used his domain. But the most important point here, the one we really need to focus on, a point that a lot of people maybe didn't even pay attention to, is that after everything we saw, Yuta was fighting here without even using his curse technique. Yes, this was base Yuta. He was fighting using only curse energy reinforcements, physical strength, and also strategy. But eventually, Yuta decides to use his innate technique, which is copy, allowing him to use copy techniques he obtains after Rika consumes a part of the opponent's body. And Rika in this case is not some separate part of Yuta, but the literal manifestation of his innate technique. Yes, she gives him a boost of curse energy, but I think at this point we have confirmed that Yuta can fight at a special grade at this pace even without using Rika, without using his curse technique, and without any real issue. And because of that, the fight now turns into Yuta and Rika vs Uro and Ishigori. Yuta has hundreds, maybe even more, copy techniques, So obviously he had Drew's technique, the guy he just killed a little earlier, and he used it against Uro. But of course, this man Ishigori is so obsessed with Yuta. I mean, everyone is really, and that's what pushes the fight into a three-way battle. Finally, after almost 20 minutes of fighting, we get that amazing cinematic moment where all three decide to use their domain expansion. But Kururushi wasn't really dead. That cockroach guy was still alive, and that's what caused the domains to break and brought the fight back to its normal state. After that, Yuta managed to get Uro's abilities Sky Manipulation and Thin Icebreaker, which are extremely useful techniques in battle, especially against sorcerers who use long-range attacks like Ishigori. And at the end of the day, the fight turned into a real 1v1 this time. Yuta Okkotsu, a special grade and the second strongest sorcerer after Gojo, against the Ryu Ishigori, an ancient sorcerer, and the man with the highest curse energy output, the guy who apparently is still hungry, the guy with the best haircut, So after both of them exchange blows and throw everything they have at each other, Yuta still had not reached his limit. In fact, he had fully recovered. And by using Uro's techniques along with Rika, he finally managed to defeat Ishiguri, but this time it was actually pretty fast. And all that says a lot about Yuta's adaptability and his strategy in battle. And that was the end of it. Yuta managed to get 190 points in the end after they gave him all their points, and he's heading to the next goal. So this is the truth and reality of Yuta and his rank. The story is telling us that Yuta is a real special grade sorcerer, not just one on paper. Everything was against him in this battle. Innocent people he had to protect, four of the strongest sorcerers in the entire game all trying to take a piece of him, and in the end he still came out on top with minimal damage. I really like this reintroduction and presentation, honestly. A 10 out of 10. Now, regarding the animation and everything else, there are actually a lot of YouTubers out there who can explain this side better than me, and there are also plenty of videos that go deeper into it. So like if I keep talking about it, I would just be repeating the same thing over and over again. That the episode was a masterpiece, one of the best episodes of the season and all that, which is boring, So I will keep it short and just say that the episode lived up to the expectations. And it was the perfect showcase for a character like Yuta and for the long-awaited Sendai battle. And now what remains is the rest of the events inside the Colony game. Hakare vs Kashimo, what will happen with Megumi, Yuji, Takaba and Angel, Kinjaku and whatever is happening with him and the prison realm, and we're going to get all of that in the second part. And by the way, I'll probably do a full analysis and review on JJK Season 3 very soon, so you gotta stay tuned. With all that being said, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you did, that really helps, and I'll see you guys in the next one.